Hello students, welcome to the class. We have completed all that portion of chapter 6. We have started from the structure of DNA, RNA, then the process of DNA replication, then the process of protein synthesis, which involves two other processes. They are transcription and translation. After that, we have completed gene expression and gene regulation with the help of that Lecoperon. And this is the last topic of chapter 6. This is Human Genome Project and the DNA fingerprinting. One more that topic was there in this chapter, that was Rice Genome Project, but that is not in your syllabus this year. This is as per the reduced syllabus. We have Human Genome Project and the DNA fingerprinting this year. So we'll start with the Human Genome Project. The Human Genome Project is an international 13 years effort formally begun in October 1990. And this project was planned to last 15 years, but rapid technological advances accelerated the completion to 2003. So US government started Human Genome Project in 1990, coordinated by the Department of Energy of US and the National Institute of Health. We'll understand the meaning of genome here. What is the genome? The whole hereditary information of an organism that is encoded in the DNA. It is known as the genome. Human Genome Project was called a mega project also. What is the reason to call it as the mega project? Because human genome have approximately 3 into 10 to the power 9 base pairs. And the cost of sequencing required $3 per base pairs. Then total estimated cost of the project is $9 billion. The next point is that obtained sequences were to be stored in typed form in books. If each page of the book contained 1000 letters and each book contained 1000 pages, then 3300 such books need to store information from a single human cell. So you can understand why this is known as the mega project. Now we'll come to the aims or goal of the project. So what are the goals of the project? To identify all the approximate 20 to 25,000 genes in the human DNA, to determine the sequences of the 3 billion bases that make up human DNA, to store this information in databases, these are the computer based programs, to improve tools for data analysis, to address the ethical, legal and social issues that arise from genome research. So these are the goals of the human project, this Human Genome Project, HGP, known as the HGP also. Now we will see here the participation of the countries, that at least 18 countries have established human genome research programs, and further some other countries also, developing countries also participated through the studies of molecular biology techniques of genome research and studies of organisms that are particularly interesting to their geographical regions. So in this manner, this Human Genome Project was started and completed in the June 2000. First that working draft was completed in June 2000, and final HGP papers were published in 2006, and high quality finished sequence of the human genome was completed in 2003. So this is the history. Now we'll discuss the methodologies, the methods involved here in the HGP. There are two major approaches. The first approach focused on identifying all the genes that expressed as RNA. It refers to as expressed sequence tags or ESTS. So this was the first approach. The second approach was the blind approach of simply sequencing the whole set of genome that contained all the coding and non-coding sequence, and then assigning different regions in sequence with the functions. So simply sequencing the whole set of genome that contained all the coding and non-coding sequences, and later assigning different regions in sequence with functions. Now a term referred to as sequence annotation. So two processes here, two approaches. First, expressed sequence tags, and the second is sequence annotation. The method we will discuss further. So first, the scientists they isolated the DNA. The total DNA of a cell was isolated and then converted into the random fragments of a relatively smaller size. Then these fragments they were then amplified by cloning. Cloning means making their copies. So their copies were made with the help of the host and the vectors. Here the vectors which were used, they are the BAC and YAC, bacterial artificial chromosomes, and YAC yeast artificial chromosomes. These amplified fragments first, after that sequenced by using automated DNA sequencers that worked on the principle of method developed by Frederick Sanger. These sequences then arranged on the basis of some overlapping regions. Then alignment of these sequences was humanly not possible, so specialized computer based programs were developed, that is databases, and these sequences they were then annotated and were assigned to each chromosome. So this was the method involved in the DNA sequencing. So the sequence of chromosome 1 was completed only in May 2006. This was the last of the 24 human chromosomes there. So this is the method it was used by the scientists in the DNA sequencing. Now we will study here the salient features of Human Genome Project. The basis of findings of HGP. On this basis we can draw some salient feature of Human Genome Project. The Human Genome Project contains 3164.7 million nucleotide bases, and the average gene consists of 3000 bases, but the sizes varies. The largest known human gene, being dystrophin, has 2.4 million bases. The total number of genes is estimated at 30,000, and it is lower than previous estimates of 80,000 to 1,40,000 genes. Almost all, 99.9% nucleotide bases are exactly the same in all people. Means here the differences occur in only 0.1% base pairs, and the functions are unknown for over 50% of the discovered genes, and here less than 2% of the genome codes for proteins. Here one more thing we will see here, that the chromosome number 1 has most genes, that is 2968, and Y has the fewest, that is 231. So this is chromosome number 1 has 246 million base pairs, and how many genes? 2968 genes. So most genes are present in it. And that Y gene, it has the fewest, that Y chromosome, it has the fewest genes, that is 231 genes and 50 million base pairs. Then here the repeated sequences make up very large portion of the Human Genome Project. These repetitive sequences are the stretches of DNA sequences that are repeated many times. Understood? What are the repeated sequences? Stretches of DNA sequences that are repeated many times, sometimes 100 to 1000 times, and they have no direct coding function but are important in chromosome structure, dynamics and evolution. Chromosome 1 has the most genes, that I already told you, 2968, and Y has the fewest, 231. Scientists have identified about 1.4 million locations where single base DNA differences are means found in the human or occur in the humans. These are known as SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphism, or SNPs. It is pronounced as the SNPs. SNPs means SNPs. So about 1.4 million locations where single base DNA differences occur in human. This information may helpful in chromosome locations for disease associated sequences and tracing human history. So these are the salient features of human genome. Now after this we will study the DNA fingerprinting. Now we know that the two organisms are not the carbon copies of each other except for the clones. Clones means the identical one. So this is because, why the difference there? This is because the DNA or the genetic material of any two organisms cannot be the exactly similar. The chemical structure of everyone's DNA is the same, but the difference lies in the order of nucleotide base pair. Means chemical structure same. All these nucleotide base pairs will be in the DNA of all the individuals, but the difference is in the order of nucleotide base pairs. And there are millions of base pairs in our DNA. These base pairs are arranged in specific sequences. Some of the nucleotide sequences in two persons may be same, but not all. And DNA of two different persons would definitely have certain differences in the nucleotide sequences. In other words, the nucleotide sequence of a person is highly specific, and it does not completely resemble with the nucleotide sequences of some other person. So a person can be identified solely on the basis of the sequence of its nucleotide base pairs, because that will be the unique one. Therefore, the identification of a person on the basis of its DNA material is called the DNA fingerprinting. It is called a DNA fingerprinting because earlier for the same purpose the fingerprints of the persons were in use. However, the DNA fingerprinting has nothing to do with the fingers. Understood, children? So the identification of person on the basis of its DNA material is called as the DNA fingerprinting. Now the technique of DNA fingerprinting was discovered and first practiced by British geneticist Dr. Alec Jeffrey. So this is the technology used for identification of individual at genetic level. This was first developed by the Dr. Alec Jeffrey. DNA fingerprinting involves identifying differences in some specific regions in DNA sequences, and these are known as the repetitive DNA that I explained you earlier also. Repetitive DNA, the stretch of the DNA that have the repetitive sequences or repeated DNA sequences. This repetitive DNA are separated from the bulk genomic DNA at different peaks during density gradient centrifugation, and the bulk DNA forms a major peak and other small peaks, they are referred to the satellite DNA. So when DNA is applied to this density gradient centrifugation, then the repetitive DNA appears in the form of many small peaks, one after the other. Such tandemly repeated DNA sequences are called as satellite DNA. So DNA satellites, they contain the repetitive DNA. a substantial amount of genomes of many eukaryote. It is composed of repetitive DNA in which short sequences are randomly repeated in small to huge arrays. Randomly repetitive sequences commonly known as satellite DNA. Understood? This satellite DNA are classified into three major groups: satellites, mini satellites and microsatellites. Satellites are very highly repetitive with repeat lengths of 1 to several thousand base pairs. So, these are highly repetitive. With how much repetition is there? There may be the repetition of 1 to several thousand base pairs. And these sequences are typically organized as large, means up to 100 million base pairs clusters in the heterochromatic region of the chromosome. Now, mini satellites, they are moderately repetitive, randomly repeated array of moderate size, approximate like 9 to 100 base pairs, but usually about 15 base pairs repeats. And microsatellites, they are also moderately repetitive and composed of array of very short, like 2 to 10 base pairs, 2 to 10 base pairs repeats. These are found in vertebrates, insects and all that. So understood that satellite DNA, three that groups: satellite, mini satellite and microsatellite. Now in general, the satellites DNA, they show exceptional variability, means these sequences show high degree of polymorphism, show exceptional variability among individuals, and it forms the basis of DNA fingerprinting. This variability, this polymorphism, on that basis the difference occur in the individual, particularly with regard to the number of repeats at the given locus. Here mini satellites loci are the most highly polymorphic sequences elements which discovered in the human genome, and the difference in the repeat number and position of these mini satellites is the basis of DNA fingerprinting. So understood this? These sequences show these satellite sequences show high degree of polymorphism, and that forms the basis of fingerprinting. The inheritable mutation is observed in a population at high frequency. It is referred as the DNA polymorphism. The principle of DNA fingerprinting is based on matching of VNTRs. What are VNTRs? These are actually the mini satellites, means that satellite DNA, type of satellite DNA, mini satellites. VNTRs, that is variable number of tandem repeats. So the principle of DNA fingerprinting is based on matching of this VNTRs, that is the mini satellites of DNA collected at the crime spot with suspect person DNA. So let me see further. What are VNTRs? VNTRs means variable number of tandem repeats. It is also called as mini satellites that shows very high degree of polymorphism. Understood, children? These nucleotide repeats are VNTRs. You know that the DNA of person contains specific short sequences of nucleotide. We call them as mini satellites, which are repeated throughout the length of DNA molecule, and the number and the location of this repeat sequence is different in different individual, and these nucleotide repeats are known as the VNTRs, variable number of tandem repeats. And why are they called so? These are called so as their number and size is variable. So variable number and size variable. So their number and size is variable in different persons, and they are arranged tandemly. The meaning of tandemly means one behind the other. This means that the VNTR pattern of two individuals is different except for monozygotic twins. So VNTRs are specific to individuals, differ from person to person, and it is the basis for the identification. And it shows some similarities between the same family members also. So the individual belongs to the same family, they have similarities in their VNTRs. VNTRs of identical twins are same, that is monozygotic twins. Hence, it is not possible to identify individuality in identical twins by DNA fingerprinting technology. And here the similarities and dissimilarities between DNAs of two persons depend upon the similarities and dissimilarities among VNTRs of two DNAs. So, understood, children? Now, we'll see two more terms here that will be used in the mechanism of DNA fingerprinting, and these terms are Southern blotting, where this is the technique of transferring DNA from agar gel to the nylon sheet, and probe. This term also will be used in the DNA fingerprinting. So, understand the meaning of probe. What is probe? Single stranded polynucleotide fragment complementary to the specific sequence of nucleotides of DNA. So, this is single stranded polynucleotide fragment which is complementary to the sequences of DNA. This is known as the probe. And what is the use of probe in this technique? It is mainly used in identifying VNTRs. These VNTRs are identified with the help of probe and the desired gene also. So, now we will study the mechanism of DNA fingerprinting. What is the mechanism of DNA fingerprinting? So, let me see here. In this technique, the DNA of unknown person from any available source such as blood, blood drops, hair follicles, tissue debris, semen is extracted out and analyzed for the VNTR sequences. If it resembles exactly with the DNA of the suspected person, then it certainly belongs to the latter one. So, the techniques involved here, the technique involves the following essential steps. What is the technique? First, the DNA is extracted from the cells in the refrigerated ultracentrifuge. So, DNA is extracted from the sample. Here the blood sample is shown. Then, if the DNA content so obtained is limited, then it can be amplified, means its copies are prepared. So, it can be amplified by making many copies of it. So, this technique by which this amplification is done is known as the PCR technique, that is the polymerase chain reaction. So, here the DNA sample we are getting, it is very small. So, it is amplified by making many copies of it, and this technique is known as PCR, polymerase chain reaction. Now, after obtaining this DNA, how it is done, that we will see the process. After obtaining DNA, this DNA is cut into the fragments by using the enzyme, that is site-specific enzyme restriction endonuclease enzymes. So, DNA is cut into the small fragments, that is denaturation of the DNA. So, DNA is denatured. Now, these segments or these fragments of DNA passed through a gel electrophoresis device containing agarose polymer gel. So, we will see here the process. These fragments of DNA are transferred to the gel electrophoresis device containing agarose polymer gel. And these DNA fragments are separated into bands during electrophoresis in the agarose gel. So, these DNA fragments are separated here. Now, the double stranded DNA is then denatured into the single stranded DNA, because you know DNA, it is the double stranded molecule. So, here this double stranded molecule is denatured and single strand of DNA is formed by using some alkaline chemicals. Now, the DNA band pattern in the gel is transferred to the nylon membrane. So, this splitted sequences which are splitted here, they are transferred onto a nylon, that is the nitrocellulose sheet. This procedure is known as the Southern blotting. So, what is Southern blotting? This is the transfer of this splitted sequences of DNA onto a nylon, that is a nitrocellulose sheet. Now after southern blotting, the next process is the sheet is then immersed in a bath containing radioactive DNA probes. Just now I explained you what are the probes that has the complementary sequences of the short stretch of DNA. So now this sheet further is immersed into the bath containing radioactive DNA probes. Markers formed by single stranded DNA. These DNA probes are markers formed by single stranded DNA which is complementary to the VNTR sequences. Now the probe DNA contains here radioactive material. So this DNA probes, they contain radioactive material. Hence they are known as the radioactive probe or labeled probe. Now why this radioactive material is there, I will explain you in the next step. So this radioactive probe or labeled probe, they target a specific VNTR sequence and hybridize. So you can understand here, this probe is actually complementary to the VNTR sequence, so it will bind with that particular VNTR sequence. So DNA probes target a specific VNTR sequence and hybridize them. So we'll now get the hybridized DNA here. Okay, excess DNA probe is washed off. Now X-ray film is finally exposed to the nylon sheet. Okay, so when the radioactive probe is found to be the DNA pattern on the membrane, now a X-ray film is placed next to the membrane to detect the radioactive pattern. So this nylon sheet is finally exposed to the X-ray film there, and when the X-ray film is developed, then dark bands represent the probe sites. You can see this band pattern is obtained. Okay, so X-ray film is finally exposed to the nylon sheet which contains the radioactive probes, and when this X-ray film is developed, dark bands represent the probe sites. This step is known as the autoradiography. So understood, children? The reason for using the radioactive material. Now on the basis of size and position of the VNTRs, the nature of the DNA can be assessed. Two different samples of DNA can also be compared on the basis of this VNTR patterns to determine the similarities and the dissimilarities. So this X-ray film is developed to make make visible the pattern of the band, and these patterns are actually the VNTR's patterns. With the help of these patterns, identification of that individual is done. So this is the process. Now we'll summarize here the process. The DNA fingerprinting technique involved southern blotting, hybridization using the radio labeled VNTR as the probe. It included isolation of DNA, then digestion of DNA by restriction endonucleases, means breaking down of it, converting this DNA into the small fragments, then separation of DNA fragments by electrophoresis. Here PCR is also there, polymerase chain reaction, making the copies of the DNA fragments, then separation of the DNA fragments by electrophoresis, then transferring these segments of the DNA onto the nylon sheet, that is southern blotting, then hybridization by using the labeled VNTR probes, and then after that detection of hybridized DNA fragments by autoradiography. So students, learn these key terms to explain the DNA fingerprinting. Now we'll come to the applications of the DNA fingerprinting. It is used to identify criminals, and it is also used to solve the parental dispute, paternity and maternity, because a person inherits his or her DNA from his or her parents. And DNA sequence pattern, that is the VNTR patterns, can be used to establish paternity and maternity. And the patterns are so specific that a paternal DNA sequence pattern can be reconstructed even if only the children's DNA sequence patterns are known. Means children's VNTR patterns are known. The more children produce, the more reliable the reconstruction. So parent child VNTR pattern analysis has been used to solve standard father identification cases, as well as more complicated cases of confirming legal nationality, and in instances of adoption, biological parenthood. Now to solve the immigrant problems here, verification of the immigrants, DNA fingerprinting helps to verify whether a hopeful immigrant is, as she or he claims, really close relative of already an established resident. To identify dead bodies of soldiers died in war, to identify dead bodies of person died at accidents and bomb blast, to identify racial groups. Yes, DNA fingerprinting is helpful in establishing similarities among different racial groups, and thus help to rewrite biological evolution, to detect the inheritable disorders. Definitely this is the one of the best use of the DNA fingerprinting. So inheritable disorders can be detected, to detect donor cell in case of the transplantation. So these all are the applications of the DNA fingerprinting. Now we will see one of that application in detail here, that how it is done. The DNA is isolated from the sample of blood, and this is already I explained you, from the any of the sample it is collected. Then DNA of the suspect also collected. Understood? DNA is isolated from the sample of blood cells, root hair or semen or bone at the crime spot. Then DNA of the suspect also collected and isolated separately. So two DNA samples, one from crime spot and one from the suspect. Now the isolated DNA is treated with the restriction endonucleases that you have studied. So this DNA is cut into the many fragments. Then DNA fragments are separated according to their length by using the gel electrophoresis. Then DNA strand on this gel slab is treated with alkaline solution to split into the single strand molecule. Then this single strand is transferred to the nylon sheath, that is southern blotting. Then single stranded DNA is hybridized by using the radioactive probes of VNTRs. X's are washed off. Nylon sheath is X-ray photographed to get bands of VNTR, and the bands of X-ray sheath is the DNA fingerprint. Now comparing the DNA fingerprint of sample collected at the crime spot with the suspect identifies the individuality. How? Here is one example. You just see selection of the victim's DNA, and then you can see that DNA fingerprint of the victim. So there are three regions of the repetitive DNA. You can see 24 repeat of GT, 16 repeat of ATGG, and 66 repeats of ATT. Now suspects are there. That section of suspects DNA, it has 49 repeats of GT, 16 repeats of ATGG, and 51 repeats of ATT. The same three regions of repetitive DNA are present here, but some include different numbers of repeats. So now let's compare this sample to the section of DNA from crime scene. So it is the suspect's DNA, this is the victim's DNA. Now as such no difference here, no difference here in this two, but here the difference in the victim's DNA and the suspect's DNA. So now the section of DNA from the crime scene, there from here it is taken. So you see here 49 repeats of GT, 16 repeats of ATGG, and 51 repeats of ATT. Now you can see these two fingerprints are exactly similar. So the length of repetitive sequences match the length in the suspect's DNA. अंडरस्टूड. क्राइम सीन से जो डीएनए फिंगरप्रिंट बना है और सस्पेक्ट का है, दे आर एग्जैक्टली similar. So the DNA found at the crime scene belongs to the suspect. So in this manner, this helps to identify the criminal and used in the forensics also. So understood, children? So read the concept from the book also, and revise the chapter there. Then I'll send you notes also of this chapter and some questions also. And any problem if you have, you ask your doubts or questions.